Is with us?
Yes, I'm there. You can hear me?
We can hear you. Thank
All
you for
right.
joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here online again. So good to see you or hear you. Looking forward to till next year to meet you again, of course. I will do a fast selection regarding the harness horses. Of course, the selection 2026. Front page, we see at this moment only living preference stallion Sisandro. He's very well known, also in combined driving, but also in the harness horse world. We have a lot of good stallions and good mares from him. That's why he became preference. And if you see him, he still looks like a 6-year-old. So I think he's one of the best in our breeding at the moment. So you can continue to the next page. Regarding the selection, we had 34 this year in the first round. It's actually the same like last year, or almost the same. One stallion was expected as a follow-up for the first viewing. He was not at the first viewing, that's why he became later. 2 stallions were re-inspected. Both of them became star. 8 stallions became star and 1 provisory because his sire was a registered B. That's why we're talking about a register B stallion. And 12 stallions were invited for the second round viewing in Den Bosch. And the second round viewing, we had 10 stallions who were assessed. 6 of them had been selected for the performance test. 2 of them got a premium and 1 of them became champion. And if we look at the overview to the assessed stallions, so like I said, there were 34 presented, 9 of them became star, 12 second round, 6 were selected and 2 premium. It's almost the same like the 2 years before, so there's not a lot changes about that. And the 6 selected stallions have 5 different sires, so I think that's also good. And then we go to the kinship. We had 1 low kinship, 1 is classified low average, 1 is average high, 3, and one is high. And regarding the predicates from the dams, there was 1 registered A, 3 star mares, and 2 cur mares. Then we go to the selected stallions. I'll start with Tobias V, number 707. He's by Macho, it's actually the second crop of Macho. He's 3 years old, 162. He does have a high kinship, but it's still possible to select a higher kinship stallion, but he has to be very convincing during the performance test. So it's possible for a higher kinship to be selected, but they have to be very good in the performance test. So we're really curious what he's going to do in harness. And it will start around the autumn this year. Then we had talent number 714. He's by Magnifique, out of Heroes by Grisando, also 3-year-old. His height is over here 162, but he has been remeasured on 164. His kinship is 10.6%, so average still high. Then we go to 717, Tirolo. He's by the second crop of Magnifique, out of the star mare Nina Tave by Sisandro, also 3 years old, 162. His kinship is average still high. And then we have 722, Thomas BFT. He's by Norbert, out of Ijos Cur by Mallow. Also 3-year-old, 162, and low and average in kinship. And actually, his sire Norbert didn't breed a lot, so it's really nice to have a really very convincing son in hand, which has been selected. So also we're looking forward to this stallion at the performance test. And then we go to Tridalio, number 730. He's by Nibali. Nibali was an invited stallion, but not approved. He's out of the star mare Malia by Mano, also 3-year-old, 165, and his kinship is average still high. And then we have 733. He's by Onana. He's not an approved stallion. Out of registered A, mare from Avion Pierre, 3 years old, 164. And his kinship is really low. And that's also a reason for the stallion committee to invite him for the performance test because of his low kinship. And he has a nice color. Then I will talk a little bit more about the selected stallions, and I mean the premium stallions. The first one who became premium was Tobias V. So he's macho out of Yalinda Elara by Ebert. At the bottom, there's a video from him. If you go down on below the picture. Oh, that's one more, one above, yeah.
Een aantal zeer interessante
Yes, we'll
paarden
see him move.
in het mennen.
He's a young stallion. He has a lot of youth. He has very strong connections. He also has a nice walk, and he had a very good presence. You will see it in trot. He's happy, and he's very athletic with a lot of suppleness, and also good action in the foreleg. Could have a little bit more reach, but his use of the hind leg is also very well. He bended his joints well, and showed a lot of balance and a lot of pleasure, and that's what we really like to see, especially with a young horse like that. And regarding his dam line, he has a famous dam line with a lot of predicates, with very good curring results in his dam line, and also a lot of predicates. And he was at the second round viewing even better than the first round. So you can really see he enjoyed it, and also the crowd loved him over there. And regarding his conformation movement and also his pedigree, the committee decided to make him premium. And I really think he deserves that. So we look forward to see him back again in the performance test. We can go to the next one. So the next one was also premium. It's 714 Talent, and he became the champion.
Die pas in Ankeween. Trouwens een stokmaat.
From the first second, this stallion was really a harness stallion in every way. If he stands, if he walks, if he trots, he's always a harness horse. Always with his front upright, just like we see the overall picture. As you can see now, always his neck is upright. He has a lot of balance as well. Has a very good foreleg technique. Has a nice long neck, a good shoulder, a good withers. Also a good top line. It's a very good use of his foreleg, so has a lot of action, but also a lot of reach. And he has a lot of stallion attitude, and that's also what we like. And of course, everybody likes the color as well. And yeah, we believe regarding his pedigree is also very good, out of a famous dam line with a lot of predicates, also a lot of sports. So he was very convincing, and that's why the committee had the opinion to make this one premium, but also champion. We like them really, really a lot, just like the other premium stallions. So we believe we have a nice selection for this year. And it might be possible that some other stallions from the past also will be at the performance test, but that's the moment we can select them on in autumn again. So each second, his overall picture is really like a harness type we like. And I think the public, the crowds agreed with us that he became champion. And then, yeah, there is a lot to do before the performance test starts. I think Bart told you also a little bit about it, but actually for the harness horse is actually quite the same. So they must have met the requirements for Proc, Warring, and Seaman. And before they start the performance test, they have to be presented in harness 3 times before. And at the first time, also star and second round stallions who didn't get an invitation for the performance test can be presented in harness again to get an invitation for the performance test. And if they get selected, they will be equal like the already selected stallions. For example, last year we had a few older stallions who were presented in this way and eventually were approved. And when the performance test starts, the stallion committee will make a final decision if the stallion will be allowed to join the performance test or not. And of course, a vet check is also required before starting the performance test. And our performance test will take about 28 days. And it's still quite short, especially when you look at all the stallions who have been competing in sports. You always want to get them back to the natural talent, because natural talent is the only thing which is natural breeding. So that's very important for us. And of course, we give points during the performance test, and we score them on front, posture, suspension, foreleg action, use of the hind leg, enthusiasm, workability, and trainability. Very important also regarding combined driving. Everybody wants a horse with a nice character. And of course, we look at the overall impression before a stallion will be approved or not. And regarding workability and trainability, the stallion has to score a minimum 7 points for that, otherwise he wouldn't be approved. Then we have the approved stallions. They were not presented in the Bos this year. We had them presented at the first round viewing. Palladium, he was born in 2020, so he was approved a 5-year-old. He already had a sport career, won a lot of competitions already. He scored really good points, so he was actually the performance test champion with 8, 8.5, 3 times 9, and even 5 times 8.5. So overall, he was very convincing in his whole package. So we're curious about his offspring this year. Then we had the only 3-year-old, which became approved. He's from the first crop of Macho, so his first approved son. He's a big horse, 172, and he also scored very convincing overall. Maybe he could use in the hind leg, could be a little bit stronger, but he's still young. So, and regarding his size, we don't think it's an option, but he's a really nice horse with a very good harness type and also a good rectangular body. And then we had another stallion, Pavarotti. He became also approved at the age of 5. He also had competed in sports with good results. His height is 166, so let's say average. And his performance test was overall convincing, but he could have a little bit more posture. But overall, regarding all his scoring points, they were convincing enough. And of course, this stallion is quite low in kinship, so this makes him also very interesting. Then we had Realist van Altrido. He was approved at the age of 4. He also had competed in sports already. So we knew that also regarding the performance test. He was performing well. He's also a big stallion with 171. And overall, he was also convincing enough with an 8 for enthusiasm and workability and trainability. Also, suspension was very good. He could have a little bit stronger use of the hind leg, but overall, we think he's, I think we believe he's good for the stallion selection, and he also has a sire with a very low kinship, so that makes him also very interesting. And also his dam line is a very good dam line with a lot of predicates. And that's about it. So it was fast, but if you have any questions, let me know, please.
Viggon,
Yeah.
do
Yes.
you already know which stallions are going to come to the performance test and when they will start presenting themselves? Because they have multiple times they have to present themselves before they start, right?
Yeah, true. Yeah, they have to be presented 3 times in harness, and in between those 3 times, it will take about 2 weeks. And I believe the first time will be at the first week of September, and then the second time half September, and the start of the performance test will be at the end of September. But the exact dates are not definitive at this moment. But we're looking at it, and if they are known, then we will put them on the website as well. But it will be around the same time like last year.
Okay. And what are things that if you see happen will definitely make you say, okay, come to the spring test, so train a little bit longer, or all of a sudden you can even change your mind as a committee about a stallion?
Yeah, for example, we have only selected 3 years olds this year. And if you look at some bigger horses, you might say, like a committee, okay, maybe it's a little bit too early to start the performance test, because the performance test is not easy. It's not easy to get approved. And sometimes, and we see it also with the riding horses, sometimes it's better to save the horse and come back later, come back a year later, for example. But yeah, we think it's very important that the owner and the trainer, they know the horse, of course, very good. They actually have to decide what they're going to do. But at the 3 times driving in harness before, the stallion committee will talk to the owners and also to the drivers and tell them what they think about the stallion at that moment. So I think it's very good to have those moments with the owners and the trainers to talk about the stallion without knowing anyone, to advise them what to do. And also, if the stallion committee thinks, well, it might be not good enough, the stallion committee will tell the owners or the trainers, think twice before you enter the performance test, because it will also cost you a lot of money. So I think it's fair to talk to the owners and to the trainers to be honest about the performance from the stallion at that moment.
And what to expect. Hey, and Viggon, do you have an advice for people in North America that are considering to present a stallion to you guys at the curing?
Now we had actually 2 this year, 2 at the Pennsylvania curing. We had the advice curing for pedigree approval. It was a 2-year-old, and we also say we want to know the pedigree. I think Bart told it maybe as well. We also always want to know the pedigree before a stallion can be presented for licensing or for pedigree approval. And we saw a 2-year-old this year out of a very good dam line. We were very happy he was presented. He looked very good, so we hope he will meet his vet requirements. And regarding an older stallion, I was advised to do at least the PROC examen, because in the past we had a few stallions we wanted to license, but they didn't meet the vet requirements. So it's a pity when a stallion can't be licensed, but it's not possible because of the veterinary requirements. So I always advise, please do at least the PROC and even more. But PROC, I think, is most important. If it's not good, it makes no sense to go to the curing. You can save some money in that way.
Yes.
So, but I think the people will do that. Since a few years, they will do that. And in the Netherlands, it's the same. A lot of people, and I think especially the riding horse people, always have the horses already done by X-rays. So you know what's going to happen, or if you will succeed or not. It's very important to know it already.
Okay,
Also
so
in the year
X-rays,
before.
X-rays ASAP and pedigree approval before the 1st of May.
Yeah. Regarding stallion selection, you have to give us the pedigree information so we can decide if the stallion can be allowed or not at the curing.
And what date, Kelly or Drew, is our owners expected to get an answer from the Netherlands about their pedigree approval? Because, you know, they need to know if they can come or not and what to expect if they sign their stallion up for a curing licensing for the class. So when does the KWPN committee send back their advice about the pedigree?
They were really great this past year. I think we had them back in about 3 weeks. So should be before June 1st, assuming that they get them all done. But yeah, the KWPN was really good with their response this year.
Okay, so send in the forms before the 1st of May and expect them back really soon for all breeding directions, so also harness.
Correct.
All right.
Yeah.
So I think it's time for our break. I think we're supposed to come back at 1:55, and then we've got a presentation of Live Oak that just happened, and Viggon and Liz both had a little travel mishaps on their way back.